Two blokes, Billy and Phil. Billy starts investing $200 a month at 20 and stops at 60. Total in 96,000. Phil waits until he's 30, then puts in 300 a month to catch up and stops at 60 as well. Total in 108,000, 12 grand more than Billy. At a 10% average return, Phil finishes with $678,000. Billy finishes with 1.26 million. Billy put in less money and ended up with nearly 600,000 more. The only difference between them was 10 years. So this isn't a video about cutting coffee. It's about which one of those two you're going to be. And that gets decided by what you do with your next paycheck, not next year. Here's the entire system in one line. 25% to growth, 15% to stability, 50% to essentials, 10% to rewards. And growth comes first for one reason. Every wealthy person you can name owns something: a business, assets, a trust, or a skill nobody else can supply. Almost nobody gets there on salary alone, because if you don't own anything, you're the thing being owned. Your time is the asset, and it belongs to someone else. That's the gap I spent my 20s closing, from no money and no qualifications to owning businesses instead of just working in one. And one of those four numbers is the one almost everybody gets wrong. It isn't the one you're thinking of, and it's the reason people on six figures still end the month with nothing. So the first job isn't earning more. It's turning a slice of what you already earn into something that's yours, and that's the 25%. It goes into things that grow. When most people get paid, they cover the bills and the rest evaporates on things they can't remember buying. Flush for a week, skint by the 28th, back at work on Monday. The 25% is how you break that. So where does it go? Think of it as a ladder from steady up to spicy. Bottom rung, index funds. This is where most people should start, and honestly, where most people should stay. You're not picking winners, you're buying a slice of the whole market and leaving it alone. Next, property. Actual rental property if you've got the capital, REITs if you haven't. That's owning a share of a portfolio of buildings without needing a deposit. Middle rung, and this is the one everybody skips: skills. A skill that earns is the fastest return you will ever get. Copywriting, sales, editing, code. Slower than clicking buy, but nobody can take it off you, and nothing else compounds straight into your income the way it does. Above that, online businesses. Real upside and a fair bit of failing first. Then individual stocks. It's tempting to hunt the next Tesla. Unless you genuinely done the work, you're guessing. Keep it small and treat it as a hobby, not a strategy. Top rung, alternatives. Crypto, gold, wine, trainers. Can you make money? Absolutely. Can you lose it by Tuesday? Also absolutely. I've played with these, never with money I'd miss. My honest advice: index funds and one income skill. Get those two right and everything above them is optional forever. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, this is just what I've done. Do this in the wrong account and you'll hand over thousands in tax you never had to pay. In the UK, the stocks and shares ISA, $20,000 a year, and everything it earns is tax-free. And if you've got a workplace pension, you're usually putting in 5% while your employer adds 3%. That's free money. In the US, the Roth IRA, you invest money you've already paid tax on, it grows tax-free, and you take it out tax-free. $7,000 a year under 50. Then the 401k, where it comes out before tax, and if there's an employer match, take the match before anything else in this entire video. Anywhere else. Nearly every country has a version of this. Search your country and the phrase tax-advantaged investment account and give it 20 minutes. It'll be the best paid 20 minutes of your year. And then, this is where people fall over: actually invest it. Loads of people open the account, pay in every month, and leave it sitting there in cash for years, wondering why nothing's happening. Set a standing order for payday, straight from your bank into the platform, so the money's gone before you've seen it. Then buy something boring. A 3-fund split does the job: a US market fund, an international fund, and a bond fund for ballast. 60, 30, 10 if you're young. More bonds as you get older. Then stop fiddling with it. From that point, your job isn't better picks, it's a bigger number going in. 15% is what keeps you in the game, and I learned this one the hard way. I was 18. I needed a car to get to work, and I had nothing saved, so I did what everybody does. Took a loan and bought a VW Golf. Got a new stereo with the extra the bank threw at me. For about 3 months, I felt untouchable. Then the engine went. No savings, no backup, and if I didn't fix it, I'd lose the job that was paying for it. So I borrowed more. More debt, more pressure, more stress. That car didn't just break down, it broke my finances, and it set me back a full year. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a stability problem. One bill at the wrong moment, and the whole thing folds. And if you're invested, you get forced to sell at exactly the wrong time and turn a paper loss into a real one. How much? Add up only what you'd still have to pay if everything went wrong. Rent, food, utilities, transport, the internet you need for work, not the internet you need for Netflix. That's your monthly baseline. Multiply it by 5. 1,500 a month means 7,500 in the fund. 5 months is on the cautious side, and I know it. Trouble doesn't arrive one at a time. Where? 3 rules, no exceptions. It has to be reachable inside 24 hours. I've watched people lose a job and still not be able to touch their own emergency fund. Completely pointless. It has to be zero risk. Not the stock market, not the safe end of the stock market, not crypto. When the emergency lands, the market is often down. Very often it's the same event. And it has to earn something. A high-yield savings account with instant access. Leave it at 0% and inflation quietly eats it while it waits. How fast? 3 things stacked. Move the 15% the day you're paid, automatically, before you get a vote. If you dip into it, top it back up on the very next payday. Not next month, the next one. And let the small stuff work. Roundups on every purchase and cash back from a card you clear in full, straight into the fund. You won't feel it, and it stacks quicker than you'd think. 50% covers your actual life. And this is the number nearly everybody gets wrong. I said we'd come back to it. Close to half of Americans earning over 100 grand a year still live paycheck to paycheck. Not because 100 grand isn't enough, because their essentials quietly expanded to swallow whatever turned up. When I was 20, I had a mate who looked like he'd made it. Designer shirt, expensive watch, always the one getting the round in. He had 43 pounds and 20 pence in his account, and credit card payments overdue. I was in a baggy top and a cheap watch, with about a grand sitting in investments and a stability fund I'd rebuilt after the car. It wasn't a fortune, but money went further back then. It was mine, and his wasn't. Wealth isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. Forget the coffee. I've said the coffee thing myself and I was wrong. It's noise. 2 categories decide whether 50% is even possible. Housing. Always renegotiate when the lease is up. A landlord would nearly always rather keep you than clean, list, and show the place again. And even a freeze saves you thousands. If you need more room than that, house hack. Rent out the spare, split with mates, move back to your parents for a year while you build the buffer. Aim to keep housing under half of your 50%. Transport. Car payments are one of the great wealth killers. People lease new for the monthly status and then pay for years on something that's losing value the entire time. Buy used, past the steep bit of the depreciation, and keep it under half of your essentials too. And in a walkable city, running no car at all can free up hundreds a month once you count insurance, maintenance, and parking. Get those 2 right, and the small stuff mostly sorts itself out. Willpower vanishes when you're tired, stressed, or bored, which is exactly when you shop. So don't use willpower, use rules. 4 questions in order. 1. Is this an impulse? If it isn't, you've been thinking about it for weeks and it's genuinely an essential, buy it and move on. 2. If it is an impulse, wait 7 days, then ask again. Most of the time you'll have forgotten it existed, and that tells you everything you needed to know. 3. Still want it? Then am I buying the brand or the value? If it's the brand, you're paying for somebody's marketing budget, and there's an unbranded version that does the same job. And value doesn't mean cheap. 60 quid boots worn 100 times is 60 pence a wear. Good. 200-pound trainers worn twice is 100 pounds a wear. Terrible. A 5-pound shirt that dies in the wash is also terrible. Chase quality, not price and not logos. 4. Will this actually improve my life? If yes, buy it properly and enjoy it with no guilt at all. If it's about impressing someone, killing boredom, or chasing a hit, you already know the answer. Run that 4 or 5 times and it stops being a checklist. It just becomes the way you think. The last 10% is for enjoying your life, and skipping it is why most people's discipline collapses around month 4. Saving with no joy in it starts to feel like punishment, and punishment always ends in a binge. Open a separate account, Same bank is fine, it'll just show up as a second balance. And have 10% land there automatically every month. 2 grand of income, 200 in. 10 grand, 1,000. Same rule either way. And the one rule that makes it work, you cannot top it up from the other three. Hit zero and you wait for payday. Spend it on things you'll actually remember. Trips, a hobby, nights out with people you'd miss, gifts for the people who put up with you. I ignored every bit of that for years. I worked through holidays until I ended up with stress-induced shingles and a doctor telling me to go away somewhere. My first ski trip was doctor's orders. I lost most of my friends in those years, and I miss birthdays I don't get back. The money was never the point. Don't learn that one the way I did. 25 to growth, 15 to stability, 50 to essentials, 10 to rewards. It works on $2,000 a month and it works on $20,000. Percentages don't care what you earn, which is the entire reason I use them. And remember what Billy actually did. He didn't pick better stocks than Phil. He didn't earn more than Phil. He started 10 years earlier with 200 quid a month. So do the one thing that matters this week. Work out 25% of your next paycheck, set the transfer up today, and let it leave before you ever see it. You won't miss it. And in 30 years, it'll be the only decision from this month you still remember.